It's so nice to see you. Great. So I welcome all of you to one more program on perspective with ProTouch. Very, very, very warm welcome. I can see many people are from our regular connect and regular community who are attending our sessions. I think since so many uh, years, I can say, since we have started online training programs. So without wasting any time, let me introduce myself. I'm Dr. Aparna Sethi. I come with 20 years of experience in manufacturing, service, education, and now we have founded a company called ProTouch, and we are completely into training solutions business. I myself work as a diversity and inclusion consultant. We deliver programs in POSH TTT, diversity, inclusion, uh, gender sensitization, emotional intelligence, along with many other customized training programs to corporates. However, along with that, we deliver wonderful global certified programs, that is HR generalist, HR analytics, as well as analytics for managers. There are many more small modules are also there, which you can have a look at it. That's all. So I have taken exactly 1 minute of yours to introduce myself and my company. To know more about it, I will share my uh, website and all the other details here. Because today, when we have gathered together, the objective of coming here is completely different, isn't it? So it's now almost 3 years since homosexuality has been decriminalized in India. On September 6, 2018, the Supreme Court of India passed the landmark judgment that rendered Section 377. However, inclusivity as a principle goes far deeper in our lives than resolving legal, governance, or policy related challenges. We know that bringing about changes in the hearts and minds of people is what is going to make us truly inclusive. And very important, the role of businesses will be substantial, and the impact of affirmative actions taken by business leaders is going to make big difference here. And ladies and gentlemen, everyone attending this particular program, today we have Akshay Tyagi, who will be sharing his experience with us. Akshay is a diversity and inclusion expert and has been actively involved in advocacy work for LGBTQ community. He has been working with NGOs at grassroots level in India to help create an equal and equitable society. And his work has started since his college days, which is very, very, very important to note. His paper, Investigating the Impact of Exclusion and Discrimination on the Health and Rights of Transgender Person in Delhi, has been funded by UNAIDS. He is also the Youth Task Force member at UNAIDS for Sustainable Development Goals, that is SDGs 2030. He's, he has been a panelist at the Future Diversity, being LGBT in the New Normal event organized by Belgian Embassy in Manila. He's also spoken at several forums, including the Cure Awed Literature Festival. I think it will take a lot of time to express and explain his journey. However, very important point is he has presented his on the way recommendation and way forward to Niti Aayog on SDGs and LGBT community at the UN House, Delhi. He's also working with various colleges to create a roadmap for safe, inclusive campuses. We welcome you, Akshay. I think that's the
Thank you.
wonderful job. Can we give him a big round of applause? Everyone. Can I see that? Wonderful. I think, when I was going through your profile, the most important thing I also found, yes, you have done a lot of work. And the current work which you are working on is, on campuses. I think that is where we are going to bring a lot of changes, isn't it? Because I think everything starts from there. However, even though I'm working in this particular area, I will say I have very limited knowledge, Akshay, because these topics are still not discussed very openly in the society. Yes, we have come long way. Now we are discussing on public forums and talking about inclusion, isn't it? It itself is a journey, but we have a long way to go. Welcome, Akshay.
Thank
Very
you.
warm welcome from ProTouch team. Great. So my first question to you, Akshay. Okay, before we begin, I would like to tell you that there will be few questions I will be asking. Um, Around 30 minutes or so. And after that, whatever questions you have, kindly put it in the chat box and then we will taking up. There is a possibility that you may have questions when we are discussing. If we find it relevant that time, I will take it. Otherwise, we will have lot of discussion at the end. I hope that works with everyone. Yes? Great. So the first question to you, Akshay, is what motivated you to work in this area?
Okay, I think the very first thing I would like to state here is that Aparna, you very well mentioned that we have come a long way, but it is just now that we are started to discuss about these subjects. And similar thing happened when back in 2016 I joined Jamia Millia Islamia for my post graduation, and it was of course a very random subject which was given to us, and that was on sexual minorities, and I had to work on a photo book. And back in that time, although we knew people from the community and there were a few in our class as well, but they were of course not out and their identities were not discussed as such. And maybe this is something, the reason why I particularly now started working on the campuses is that because back in our school times, back in our college times, gender in a specific, sex in a specific, sexuality in a specific were not at all discussed. And that was the reason why when at the age of almost 20 I was given a task to work on sexual minorities. I was actually a lot confused. I had to work hard a lot because I didn't know of people who I can easily go and interact with to work on my subject. I How I started is because I think it is very important for us to know, like if you just go and randomly start asking people, okay, are you gay? I want to work on a project. Are you lesbian? I want to work on a project. That will not serve the purpose. And similar thing goes with even trans people. You cannot just go and click their photographs, put in your project and then come back. And then they will look, okay, there are so many people who are already clicking them on the road streets, who are already clicking them at the various celebrations which they are part of, but what is that difference which your photograph will make? And that as a communication student I was thinking. So when I was working on this project, of course, through Facebook, through Instagram, through a few of the connections which I have had back in, very limited of course, now I work the pan India, but in fact internationally, but back in 2017, in the beginning of 2017, I had not even a single contact. And through Instagram, through Facebook only, I was able to reach out to a few of the NGOs. And of course, it took me time to build that connection, to build that trust in them, that my project is not just going to be limited to this photo book project and then I will say, okay, now I'm not more interested with to work with you or to be a part of your group. And I did that, and I was just lucky enough that I got to work with a lot of transgender community persons, a lot of lesbian, gay, bisexual people. I attended a number of events to get mingled with the community, to know about their lived experiences in a more better and subtle way, to know about their realities, because a lot many people are living their dual lives. And all of this, when I was doing, so I had two sides of experiences. Once, because I was actually studying in Jamia Millia Islamia, which is a Muslim minority institution, and acceptance with respect to the queer community as such in the institution was also very limited. There were not many people talking outrightly about it. So, and this used to happen, Aparna, despite being part of I actually was a master student in AJK Mass Communication Research Center, which is Asia's one of the best mass communication college. But surprisingly, a lot of students used to walk out when I used to present my photo book projects and the photographs which I was clicking during my project, and all of this. And then at the same time, within the community, what I was facing, because a lot of people were asking, is it just for the sake of this project that you're clicking and coming and meeting us, or there is a purpose behind it? Because of course the people from the cisgender community who are walking into these NGOs and going to meet these trans people are majorly the sex seekers, are majorly the people who are going to get them for some or other reasons. So but my story was a bit different, and that's why it took me a lot of time to make them believe that I'm not here to just make use of them, or just to finish my project. I built that confidence that if I'm opting to work on this subject now, and I also did a lot of research back in my home and in college to learn about the exclusion, to learn about the queer community at the large, to understand, so that whenever I am going to meet them, I already have a backlog in my mind. Okay, I am ready to face this. And this entire understanding about the community helped me dwell quite well within the community. And whenever I say that I work, like you also mentioned, work for the LGBTQI community, I never prefer to mention this specifically. I always mention that I work with the LGBTQI plus community,
Yes,
because when
plus.
you work for someone, it really doesn't bring in that impact, because it there is the belongingness in specific is missing. Because when you work for someone, that connection is not something which you can easily build up. But when you are together, when you are together to bring in that change, is something which really excites people. And I really made that thing for me. I brought people in together, and was just lucky enough that I soon after that I got to work with United Nations AIDS program, and UNAIDS funded my research project. And that project really had given me a lot of scope to not just be limited to photo book, but rather expand more of my understanding. And in the entire Delhi, I had gone to a number of NGOs to take the collection for my research project. I learned about the experiences, about the challenges they are facing with respect to education, with respect to health, with respect to all the necessary supplies which they need on a daily basis, and the kind of humiliation and discrimination they're facing on the regular basis. And all of this had somehow urged me more that I have actually been working with a lot of NGOs since almost 2012, and it's been 9 years. And as a student, when I, like soon after my 12th, when I started working with NGOs, I realized that there are already a number of NGOs which are working for women, which are working for child. But this subject in specific, the very few of NGOs which we already have existing, their major focus is HIV. Their major focus is still with respect to AIDS. So I wanted to do something different which can actually bring them into the mainstream. Because if I would just continue to be a part of that health mechanism, then probably it won't do much, but rather just reduce the stigma. But I wanted to take this forward, and I did that project. Soon after that, I got the opportunity to work with the Lalit Suri Hospitality Group, and was just lucky enough that this is the first hotel in the entire world who had actually signed United Nations Declaration for Discrimination Against LGBTQI plus people. And that too before even Supreme Court had decriminalized Section 377. So the Lalit back in 2016 had started a Pure Love campaign. This particular Pure Love campaign welcomes people from all walks of life, people who are trans, people who belong to the LGBTQI plus community, people who are SRTX survivors, people who are persons with disabilities, and all the other marginalized sections and women. So all of them who have their stories been unheard and unseen. We as a platform, we at Pure Love Campaign wanted to bring their stories to the fore. And this particularly because I also come from communication background, and I thought that this could be one very important tool, because storytelling can do a lot better than just putting numbers to a certain subject. So we started narrating their stories through our different projects. And at the Lalisuri Hospitality Group, of course, we just not say that we are LGBTQ friendly hotel, but there is a lot which the company had introduced in before even Supreme Court's verdict. The company had introduced the insurance for same-sex partners before Section 377's scrapping. This company had introduced gender reaffirmation surgery insurance for the transgender persons before Supreme Court's verdict. So all of that which comes in act before even a legal body is actually stopping you to do that, the Lalit as an entity was able to do that. And that's the credit goes to Mr. Keshav Suri, who is the executive director of the Lalisuri Hospitality Group and who is also a self-identified gay man. And when he actually came out and he, understanding his privilege, wanted to make it better for rest of the queer folks, because it became even more important for him to take an honest or responsibility for all the other people who are part of the spectrum but are struggling on a regular basis to find their authentic self. So the major objective, which of course at the Lalit, the change flows from top to down, and that approach really helped each one of us not to just become sensitized, but also to also start learning and empathizing with the community and to be with them, to be that support system. And that is why we say that at the Lalit you will always find an army of allies, and an ally is not just specific to LGBTQI plus community, but to everyone who needs a support system, who needs an advocate to stand by them. And that's all something which I have been part of till now. And I'm glad to say that through the Keshav Suri Foundation and through the Lalit, so far I have been part of India's one of its kind queer youth leadership course, which actually brought in people from 20 different states in India, because we realized that there is dearth of queer leaders. Despite being today in the 21st century and sitting in the year 2021, we do not even have a single trans or out and loud queer parliamentarian sitting in the parliament to discuss about queer related issues. Even if you talk about the so many firsts, you will only hear about the first, there is no second. So it's time now for all of us to get into action and to create more, not just second, but 20, 30, 40 and hundreds of these leaders who the country is in need of at present. Additionally, we started all-inclusive football matches, because we realized that while there are so many transgender persons who are very amazing players, they are not getting the right platforms. So we partnered with the Bhaichung Bhutia Football School and Jayashree Periwal School in Jaipur and hosted an all-inclusive football match wherein we bring people from all gender to participate in at one platform. And that really boosted confidence of not just transgender persons, but as a community of all the participants, because there was a sense of belongingness and they all were players. And I'm just glad to mention that that match had 3-2 the competition, and 2-2 each goals from both the teams were actually done by the transgender persons. So that sense of being equal and also understanding someone else's equal is something which we wanted to portray, and we were able to portray really well through that. We at the foundation also hosted India's first transgender LGBTQ plus acting workshops free of cost, and we already organized 4 of the editions for the LGBTQI community across India. And all these initiatives in the last 2020, since the pandemic hit us, we realized that the time is now, of course, to change our focus a bit, because not we at large knew that community maybe doesn't need these programs at the moment, but rather is in need of the dry ration, rather is the need of some food supplies, rather is in need of skill enhancement for their upliftment. And in 2020, since then till now, we have been extensively working with respect to providing dry ration food kits to all the people. In fact, the Lalit Suri Hospitality Group across the country, wherever we have hotels, also did a food doorstep delivery of food, cooked meals for the COVID positive community people. So all of these are some of the initiatives which we at the Lalit Suri Hospitality Group are taking, and which I am glad to be part of. And all these steps in my journey have particularly played a very important role, because as an individual, I am getting to learn a lot, not just about the spectrum, but about the various intersections within the communities. And one very important thing which I would like to state is that, Aparna, more often what happens is that we are so much involved in hearing people's stories, and also because we come from that belongingness, that we always think it is important to give our opinion. It is important for us to put our say forth whenever we are speaking to someone, and to have our point come across. But it is not always important, especially because from my experience, what I have observed so far is that whenever I am meeting people from the marginalized sections especially, they probably don't want to hear you, but they want your ears so that they can share your story. And always to bring that sense of belongingness within the community, and with the community primarily, it is very important for us to lend our ears to them, so that at least they can share their narratives first with you. And you as an individual need not to do anything, just be there as a good listener, and that can do a lot good. Then probably if you would opt to ask them anything, and you might in some or other way hurt their feelings or become insensitive, because we need to understand that the word exclusion in particularly leads to depression, leads to stigma, leads to so many of other conditions which we are not aware of, and that's why it is one of the very sensitive subject. So that's why
Absolutely,
we have to be
Akshay. I
very
think
cautious.
very nicely. I mean, it is a great journey. We could hear from college campus how college campus giving you one small project, and how you're landing with Lalit, the Lalit. I think that itself is a great story, isn't it? So I have one question for all the audiences. Let me see how do they answer. Okay, what do you mean by inclusion? This is a question for all the participants. So put it in the chat box, please. Put it in the chat box. What is the meaning of inclusion for all of you? Let me know. Because, Akshay has worked on the concept of exclusion, way of accepting the change,
And
where everybody,
I will do a quick exercise to make
yes,
it very easy for everybody to understand. But
sure, sure. Okay, so everybody is in, okay, no discrimination, equal opportunities, irrespective of sex and gender. Absolutely, Lona. Yes, Ray, celebrating the differences. That's great. Amazing. The what best I liked about your story when you were discussing about the Lalit Group's initiative, about sports, acting, everything. In fact, there was a news the first time, again, there is still a first, that one transgender won Olympic medal in
in fact,
weightlifting.
India's queer athlete Duti Chand is going for her second Olympics.
Yes, absolutely. And that shows that, the superpower God has not made any difference. Who are we to make a difference? Isn't it?
Exactly. I think
So
we have
that,
got quite good responses, but just to make things very simpler, I would actually
sure.
now going to give another question to each one of you to answer. And
Uh-huh.
of course, we are sitting at 4 o'clock. You must be feeling a bit lazy. So I am sure you must be wanting to have some drink. So
Uh-huh.
I'm giving you this option to select a drink for yourself. Please select one and write in the chat box. What do you want to drink?
I want to have this. Sorry. And I've also taken care of it. Coffee, strong coffee, lassi, reva. Green tea. Vandana is there who's saying green tea. Coca-Cola. Okay.
What you're able to actually look at the chat box, this is actually diversity,
Ah,
right? This is what are our personal choices and our personal beliefs, preferences, what we look for. And this is actually diversity. And the way we are discussing this under this one particular room today is actually inclusion. It is bringing all of us together to discuss about diversity and inclusion. Knowing this fact that if today, of course, we do not have any transgender participant in this, but if at all we realize that there is someone who maybe is interested in this dialogue today, and if we give that person a chance to come together and join this session, that will be your first measure to bring in equity in space, because you are bringing that person in this equitable environment which you are aiming to create. And the moment you also start involving them into the discussion, that will actually evokes a sense of belongingness, and that is what each of the organization is striving to bring in, because
absolutely.
that is important to bring the change. And this is actually the simpler way to define diversity, equity, inclusion, and belongingness to drive the
Absolutely,
best
Akshay.
results.
You said it so well. Diversity is giving a seat at table. Inclusion is hearing the voices. And belongingness is working on those voices. That is real inclusion. Sometimes it feels like, when I was talking to, I'm very much working closely with transgender and LGBT community. And we get to hear that, companies are using us like a showpiece. They want to show in their diversity and inclusion audit that, see, 5 generations are working and we have transgenders also. But what we get to see is after 2 to 3 months of hiring, people leave. There was a professor, there were so many people, right? And there are many people. I received one call which I would like to share with you uh, from one of the HR head. And he said, can I speak to you, Aparna? I said, yes. He said, I've seen your work in diversity and inclusion. You conduct a lot of training sessions and all. I said, yes, please go ahead. And he said, I want to die with my identity. My mother also doesn't know that I'm a gay. It's been, my marriage age has also gone, and she still keep on saying that, get married. But if I tell her, she won't be able to survive. But it is very difficult to live dual life. Just imagine if you are a girl and you have to stay like, you're a man all the time, how tough it is. But before I leave this world, I want to tell everyone, who am I? And I discussed with my boss also. However, my boss told me that better you keep quiet because the consequences will be very high. And that story made me think that what is the use of education if we are still not able to appreciate the differences and have real inclusion. And the people that is in HR department who are supposed to take care of it, they themselves are going through this kind of conflict. So what do you think at workplace? What kind of challenges LGBTQ plus community? I think now I have said the terminology right way. What is it we can do? What are the challenges they are facing?
Okay, I think to start with, Aparna, it is very important to bring forth the fact that it will not just work to say that, okay, we are now accepting applications from the LGBTQI spectrum, or just be open about it, mentioning that, of course, it's a good practice, but we have to understand that our policies in place before even initiating that dialogue? Will we make that environment safe and inclusive for people who we are wanting to join us? These are some of the very basic yet very important aspects which one need to take care of, and these are actually some of the bigger problems which community is facing. Like supposedly, if there is a trans woman, and you are open to recruit trans persons, but your company as an organization is not yet having gender reaffirmation surgery insurance for the trans people, then that person will certainly feel that that person is not recognized, their identity is not recognized at your organization. So why will they join your organization in that case? So it is more important for the companies to prepare themselves to do their homework so that there are policies in place. If at all you're willing to have a gay partner, like a gay man or a lesbian woman to be employed with you, you have to have same-sex partner insurance for them, because otherwise their partner needs are getting neglected. They are not talked about. While you have insurance policies for all your cisgender heterosexual partners, it is very important for you to recognize the same-sex partners at your workplace before even opening your doors to them to work, because you cannot just erase their identities and just being neglected about the relationships. So this is very important while we are working and aiming to work with the community. Secondly, it is very important to sensitize team. While I of course believe that when you work with the community, your understanding about the community gets a lot better, but it is also very important that you in some or other manner should not be insensitive or be indiscriminative towards somebody who is willing to join your team because of your less understanding. Yeah, had it been an individual case, that's different, but as an organization it is important for the organizations to
Akshay, I think there is a network issue. Am I right, everyone? Is everyone facing that?
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
we
Akshay's
lost
screen is freeze. Yeah.
So let's wait for, yeah, Akshay is back. Yes, Akshay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so it is very important for us to have policies in place, Aparna, and especially to recognize and identify, like recognize the identities, because as an organization, it's an onus to not erase someone's identity. And these are the lived realities of someone. These are the lived experiences of someone, which we have to consider. To bring them into the mainstream, it is important that we sensitize our team members on a regular basis. To begin with, of course, the HR, because they are the first people any LGBTQI plus person is first going to meet. You should of course have a diversity person who will specifically handle your diversity part, because they certainly come from an experience where they have an understanding about the lived experiences of people and about the stories and challenges which people are facing on a regular basis in their individual lives. And that is it in itself, because like I would just like to quote here how at the Lalit we ensure that we do not erase identities, is that whenever we initiate conversations, of course, like I mentioned, we first hear out. If we hear out their lived experiences, the realities, the challenges, if they want to share, because of course while we believe that we are open to everyone, and it is important to not just force anyone to come out or to be there, okay, I am gay and that's why, because that's not how things work. You are of course getting an opportunity not because you belong to a particular section of the community, but because you deserve that space. And to claim your space, you have to be your authentic self, you have to be the right fit. And if of course, because we also should understand that because this is a marginalized section, they also come, and there is one specific line that we all do not start at the same point. So we have to keep that in mind, especially when we work with the marginalized sections, because all of us come from a different set of experiences and their lived experiences are very different. So while designing policies, while designing framework of inclusion and diversity, specifically at our workplace, it becomes even more important that their identities get recognized. So HR asks it's a specific
Let's wait. Let's wait. I think there is a network issue.
Hello.
Yeah.
Am I audible
Yeah.
now?
Yes.
I'm sorry, my internet is
It's okay. It
unstable.
happens. Yes.
Okay, so it is very important for us to bring in that sensitivity within us, to sensitize our team members, to also give other people a space, because we at the Lalit recently also introduced inclusive language, especially when it comes to our name. So our name also reads our pronouns, and that's like I am Akshay Tyagi and my pronouns are he, him, his. And this comes from everybody so that we don't misgender people, and also allows the other person to bring their authentic self, to share their pronouns and preferred name with us, so that we should be able to consider what identity they do refer to. And that's very important later on, of course.
Just small, short pause here. Many people get confused when we like, she and her, or he, his, her, him. Could you please elaborate little bit on this particular
Okay,
concept? Because
okay.
many people ask this question.
Okay, so Aparna, if you read about the gender in a specific, so of course, I'll just quickly explain about the sex, gender, and sexuality, and then I will come to pronouns. I think that would be easy. So sex in a specific is of three kinds. One is male, one is female, and third one is intersex persons. Of course, intersex are least talked about sex, but this sex in particularly is word which is actually about your biological identity which you are born with. So it is male, female, and intersex. Then coming to gender, gender is about your expression. Gender is about the psychological meaning which is attached to your social well-being, how you're expressing yourself. So it is masculine, feminine, and then we discuss about the others. So in that others, we recognize transgender persons, we recognize non-binary person, because there are people who are not just restricting themselves to being masculine at a particular point of time or being feminine at a particular point of time. And this is how we define expression. Then coming to sexual identities, this is actually about the sexual orientation, which is about on the basis of your attraction, how you feel attracted towards someone. It could be a same-sex partnership, like a gay man and is in relationship with another same-sex partner, a lesbian woman, a woman who is attracted towards another woman, a bisexual person who is physically attracted towards both male and female. Then transgender person, a transgender person is like someone who is biologically born as someone and then they express as someone else. There are so many people from the spectrum as well who join the Hijra community. So Hijra in specific is not has nothing to do about sex, gender, or sexual orientation in specific. Hijra as a particular word is a culture which people have to join. Like in all of our religions, there are certain processes which bring us more closer to our religion. Like in Hindus, there is a Janeu, then in Muslims, there is a Khatna process. So all of these processes in the similar Hijra community, Hijra culture, there is again this thing that they have a process, a kind of ritual where they accept someone as guru, chela, and all of this process, and this actually brings them into the Hijra culture. So these are the communities. Why are we in a specific started using pronouns is because there are so many identities out there, especially when we talk about the non-binary people, right, who are at times want you to address them as who you may look at them as male, but they certainly won't align well with that particular pronoun. Their preferred pronouns are maybe they them. Most people doesn't even like to be addressed with their pronouns. They just simply want like, my name is Akshay, and you have to use Akshay every time, right? So as an ally to the LGBTQI plus community, as someone who is passionate about equal rights, as someone who doesn't want that in any way I should misgender or erase someone's identity, I started using my own pronouns. And I think so many of allies out there do this, have accepted this as a process, because this allows the other person at first place the option to share their preferred name and pronouns. And this is one of the very easy way to not being insensitive towards the other person, and very subtly put yourself forth, because they can also relate to it. Like Aparna, it's very general. If at one point of time I'll ask you, hi Aparna, my name is Akshay, my pronouns are he, him, his, then it will certainly evoke some sense of understanding in you that why this person has mentioned his pronouns, right? And if you will not disclose it to me, then probably second question would be, may I know your preferred pronouns, please? right? And this is a good way, good practice to not misgender people and not erase identities, because there are so many people out there who want to be referred as they and them, and we have to respect that. There are so many people who might look as a male to you, but their expression is different. Their preferred pronouns are she and hers. So it is important that without being into our own set of bubbles of understanding, give other people a chance and put yourself forth out there so that people can actually relate to you quite well. And that is why putting your pronouns forth is a good practice for being an ally to the community.
Lot of education. Lot of education needs to happen, I suppose, right? Really, I mean, people ask very different questions, and we need to appreciate their challenge also. Like if I come across a transgender, should I call he or should I call she? If I'm talking to gay, is there any change is going to happen? And it is good that they're opening up with this kind of questions, because that's the struggle.
Yes, and
That's the
additionally,
struggle.
we have to understand that it is not important for a trans person to have their surgeries done, because
Mhm.
it's totally about their self-identification. If one person is feeling woman within, but is assigned a male sex, but then we are no one to question them. Why do you feel like this? Because this is something which we have nothing to do with. So we have to be just being acceptive of that and just give that person that sense of belongingness. And we should not rather question or ask them about why is it so, because
Mhm.
probably this is natural, and this is not something just which I am only saying is natural, but also which results and the science and everybody has now proved that this is natural. This is not a
This is
disease.
natural.
Indian Psychiatric
Absolutely.
Association, Indian Medical Association, international bodies, all of them. In fact, we are just glad to mention that even UN bodies have started celebrating Pride Month, Pride events, including LGBTQI folks, and that is why it is important for us to recognize,
In
especially in
fact, we
Indian
have
context.
gone.
Especially in Indian
But
context, Aparna, our history is so rich that that history also has mentions from the homosexuality, that history also has mentions from the trans community. And since we are so religious, we are so much dwelled into very historical mindsets, the way we have been evolved over a period of time. It is important for us to go back to our own history to understand the kind of
absolutely.
importance the communities have.
But somewhere in the history where we were very open, we were very appreciative. However, the more the modern we have become, somewhere our history, we have left it behind, what I feel, and we are researching everything again. So I think that is what is happening here. And nowadays, I have also come across so many people that don't want to be a men or women. They just want to keep their, you know, gender neutral. I mean,
Gender, yeah, yeah, gender fluid
just
people.
fluid. Like whenever I want to be a man, I want to be a
Yeah,
man, and whenever I want to be a woman, I would like to become woman, because this is that God has given me best of both the worlds. Then why do I need to select one? I think that's
exactly.
the beauty of it, and it makes us think a lot that who has decided it, why everything has to be black and white. And very important, as you mentioned, sex and gender definition so very well. At workplace, my sex doesn't matter. What matters is my competence. What matters is my skill. However, somewhere I can still see the lot of correlation between women evolution, how we evolved. In the similar way, now LGBTQ community plus we are going through. And I think this is the time to open up and include. That is very important. So you gave us three insights right now about workplace. That is, only accepting and inviting applications will not help. Only appointing people will not help, but you need to have a conducive environment. Very important is the policy. Then there should be dedicated DNI person who will look after this particular area. And wonderful powerful line, that is, we do not start with the same point.
Yeah, and just to add to that,
Uh,
Aparna, also there should be specific employee resource groups because these are
Yes.
the groups which really help people to be their own selves, to give them stories. There should be programs on allyship within the organization, so that even if you have just one or two people from the community working with you, but you don't miss out on so many of other allies which you can as an organization create. So these are some of the very important. There should be rigorous training sessions every
Rigorous.
and
Absolutely.
because it is not just a concept, it is something which is very important for all of us to understand, especially to start with what is actually DNI, what is gender, sex and sexuality, what is the spectrum all about, what are we discussing, why we are discussing, what is the business case attached to the diversity. All of this should be here in each one of our team members, so that they can actually relate to it. Yeah, and
Absolutely. And
that is actually what drives change.
it also works from top. There are few clients who tells us, Aparna, when you are having posh sessions, gender sensitization sessions, uh, then, when I give them an outline and all, we talk about LGBTQ community also, we will be covering. Not that, not that, you know.
Yeah.
And there are few who will say, are you going to talk on this? Please spend 10, 15 minutes on this, have proper video on this so that the mindset should change. So what I feel, leaders in the organization makes certainly huge difference when we want to have a inclusion. I think there is one question has come up by Chandrika, would you like to ask, but won't they feel uncomfortable if we just introduce ourselves with specific pronoun, if they don't want to or are not comfortable to share, how to connect with that situation?
I think more often what happens is this is something which we are assuming, right? But when we are sharing our pronouns at first place, it is not actually going to make them confused about sharing their own self or pronouns, preferred pronouns, but rather will give them a space to share their own, right? If they're not willing to, of course, you need not to force them, but they will definitely conform. And this has never happened, so I can share from my experiences. If you probably won't ask them about their preferred pronouns and you misgender them, that would be more insensitive than you asking them, then you sharing them your own pronouns at first place and asking them about theirs. So I think that asking question is very important, and of course asking the right question, because we have to understand that we are actually dealing with a marginalized community which has already been facing a lot of exclusion, which is actually resulting in a lot of damage. And we should keep in mind that there are so many people, almost around 35% of the transgender persons in specific, Aparna, who are actually committing suicide worldwide
Yes,
below the age of
yes.
30. So, and this is because their identities are getting unrecognized, their identities are getting erased, and they as an individual are not able to share their real authentic selves to the world. So that is why we need to be more thoughtful, more sensitive, and always should give people to a space to claim theirs.
Absolutely. As you said, you will have a huge data with you. However, as far as my information goes, in their adolescent age, 15, 16, specifically when parents disown them, when parents don't accept, because we still consider it as a something abnormality, uh, there is a problem, ऐसा कुछ होता नहीं है, all these things comes out. Many children leave their house, many children commit suicides, and all these things are happening, you know. And the first appreciation, I think, starts with parents and family. I know one case where the girl, there was a boy, and boy wanted to have a girl identity, and he wanted to, go through the surgery, and he wrote a letter to his parents about it, and finally, parents accepted it. Uh, Parents said, "Give us some time," and in that time, they prepared their neighbors, they prepared their relatives that this is going to
I
happen.
think
So don't give any kind of shocking reactions to her. And she become a beautiful girl and she's so happy now. I
yeah,
think if
and
parents support,
I would
wonderful.
like to state here, Aparna, is that it is important for everybody to, of course, to sensitize parents is very important. And even if you are just trying to sensitize them and not coming out as a person, you need to bring them to stories, bring stories to them rather, which are of people from the community itself, from where they can drive inspiration. Okay, this is nothing wrong, right? Because now there are so many role models who are out and loud, and I would like you all to please go to It Gets Better India platform. There are a number of beautiful and amazing videos from the queer community who you can share with your parents to start the dialogue, and they are very important. And we need to understand, Aparna, that whenever a person is coming out, they're actually putting their parents back into the closet, right? Because whenever a person is coming out, there is so much for a parent to understand and learn, that they for a long time and for a good amount of time, they don't come out and discuss about a lot of things. So it is important for children as well to give space and time to their parents, because if you as an individual had taken so many years to take a decision to come out, then your parents will also need some time at least to understand about you, about the spectrum, about the community, because this is what we have missed out on as an individual. And we ourselves had taken a lot of time, and we are still just learning, because I may be not the right person to talk about the entire spectrum. Everyone has their own lived experiences, and each and every individual, be it lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, intersex, each of them can share their own lived experiences probably much better than probably I could, because I still have just read about them, have worked with them, but probably their experiences, their insights have a lot of power than probably me sharing them. And I just try that whenever I speak for the community, whenever I'm bringing them their voices to the fore, their stories should actually get reflected in my face, so that they can actually feel that sense of belongingness. And I think this is the only perspective with which why I push myself to be in such forums, so that they can actually see their voices being narrated through me. So I think that's
Absolutely.
how as an ally I have been using these channels.
Absolutely. Actually, you mentioned the platform, one platform where
It
we
gets
can
better
get,
India. It
let's
gets
get,
better India.
acha, it gets better India. Okay, now we have two people who have raised their hands. Let's ask them question. Yes, Shalini, you have a question. Go ahead,
Hi
please.
all, good evening. I hope you're doing great. So, Akshay, my question was now basically I understand you have these kind of forums, but how educated is our people basically welcome to go to those forums and address to their issues? Because once they understand that there is an issue like this, a child goes and shares this with the parents. Are the parents okay? Do they are they so open to go and approach to any of these forums basically? To solve their solutions, or they just keep it to themselves because they don't want to expose it to the world there?
Uh, I think, Shalini, there is a sense of urgency which, as an individual, as an organization, we all need to establish at first place, right? Because until and unless you don't establish that sense of urgency in any of us, you probably won't see change. And this is something which we all have seen in our individual lives as well. Like, until the situation hit us as an individual hard, we really don't look for the solutions. And the recent example I can put forth is the tough time which we are all in with the COVID. Till the time we, like, this second wave has actually brought a lot of change in each one of our individual lives. We lost so many people, and it is only the time when someone from our family actually suffered and got passed away with this pandemic, that we realized how disastrous this could be, right? So this is the kind of urgency, the sense of understanding which we need to establish at first place, so that we can actually bring people to these forums, these discussions, and to ask question in first place is actually what can bring change. If you will just remain silent and just see, okay, this is also happening, okay, this is also happening, that will not bring in change. It is time, it should be an onus on each one of us to ask questions, to stop any sort of bullying, harassment, or any sort of a discriminative practice which is happening right in front of us. And especially when it comes to parents, while of course I would completely say and agree that it is not always possible for a person to come out, because coming out is a process and most people take a lot of time. Most people never in their lives even manage to come out as an individual, as someone from the community. Most people struggle for a long time, while some people in the recent times have had the courage to come out even at the age of 12, 13, 14 to their parents, and their families are very accepting towards that. So it is time now to share those of the positive deviant stories, rather I would say, Shalini, because positive deviant stories are those stories which are actually positive in nature and which people can easily relate with at first place. Like if you go back to one of the videos of United Nations Free and Equal campaign, which actually featured Selena Jaitley as well, that was of a gay wedding, that was way back in 2013. And this was one of the most beautiful video back in those times when Supreme Court had section 377 imposed and all these challenges, and everybody enjoyed that. And the kind of happiness, because it is more than anything important to understand that love is actually not just about having two partners from different sexes, because had that been the case, probably a father and son's relationship, the kind of love would never have been encouraged. The kind of bond which a daughter and a mother shares would not have been called love, because that is a same sex relationship, right? Because that they people are from the same sex. But love is actually in its purest form, consider everybody sense judgment. Love is beyond your definition of gender, sex and sexuality and your well-being. It is beyond your social, political and economical spectrum, and we have to go much above and beyond that particular forum. And that is why it is more important for us to share more of positive deviant stories, put less of challenging stories or stories of struggle for the community, especially when we have to make our parents understand about identities, because these stories will actually bring the difference. And there is a group, Swikar group of parents who are actually helping a lot of parents understand the importance of being sensitive and also how to accept their queer children. If at all there is a case, I would recommend you to please go and check their page as well. That would be a great help.
Perfect.
So
I think
for
a lot
everyone,
of awareness is much needed so that they can be open-minded and then basically start approaching these communities to seek help.
Yeah, that is why we have to establish that sense of urgency.
Correct. Because I was hearing one of the forum in Clubhouse, right? So one person shared that, he like as Aparna said last time, he didn't share anything to his parents. Okay, and then he was once he grew a little, bigger, than that's when he actually faced a lot of issues, and the challenges that he came over, coming over all
So
those things.
Shalini, we need to understand that coming out is actually in process. It is not something like one day you start feeling like, okay, I'm gay and I come out. It's not
Agree.
that, because there are so many psychological, social, emotional factors associated with it. There are so many people we need to think about who are actually getting married under the kind of environment which they are into, the kind of pressure which their families are putting onto them to get married despite knowing their identity. So all of these are some of the challenges which we as a society can only cater to by engaging people in discussions, by talking about it. And that is the whole reason why we need to discuss a lot more about it. And just to put you mention, there are stories where there was a time when there were divorces happening, because like there are a couple of people who I also know personally, they divorced because the person, the girl married to, was a gay man, and that gay man came out after their marriage, and the girl didn't disclose his identity even, and just asked for divorce. So it is important for a girl as well, for the child, for the man as well, to find out ways, because it could have been more easier if the man would have disclosed or shared his identity well before the marriage, so that girl would have been at the better position. So there are a lot of changes which we as a society need to make, the kind of environment which we need to create. And I think a lot can only happen when we start engaging in such dialogues, conversations, so that if not many, at least they will be able to find one or two support to stand by them.
Agree. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shalini, for that question. Actually, and it's, from this discussion, which I can make out is the positive storytelling. Let the positivity come out. Somewhere we do not have to all the time raise the flags, but very important is raise little voice. For example, Bollywood movies have damaged LGBTQ plus community like anything, right? The jokes. So it's very, it's in, unconsciously it is impacting our way because it is not getting clapped. It is not something great to happen. People are laughing. And that is where all of us, somewhere, it has got impacted, isn't it? So it's very important that if you come across such kind of comments, jokes publicly, just open up, put positive story. Let's cheer the great work people are doing. It is not easy. The struggle is not easy, but very important. What is it that we can do in our own way? Let's own that. We do not have to go all the time and join the community. We do not have to do great things. Sitting at home also, we can do a lot of things. Today also, like, in webinars and all, we always have 100 plus people. Today we have around 44 because it's not many people's priority. But these
Dr. Aparna, can I say something?
just a minute, huh? These 44 can reach to 10 more. And I think that is the positivity which we all can spread around, isn't it?
True. True.
Great. Someone wanted to say something, please.
Yes, Dr. Aparna, my name is Sujata, and
Yes,
I've been an
Sujata.
HR.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Small story, short, I'll tell you. There's a guy or a girl by name Avinash Kohli working with me. I just picked up his resume and he joined my team 4 months back. During the interview, I asked him why you didn't marry. And he looks like a boy and he said, the Lord still doesn't allow me. So believe me, I understood that if you let them live, like we are women, or there is a man in the office, does that make a difference? It doesn't. We are all human beings. We all are equally as workmen. I think we should include them also as workmen and leave this to their personal life. Just treat them normal. They'll be more than happy. And this guy or this girl himself cracks jokes with me. The other day he was saying, ma'am, you are safe with me, whereas your other men are not safe with me. It's so nice, and we don't even make him realize that we have somebody like him. He's the one who makes us realize, look, I'm a little different. But if you leave them alone, he's one, all of us 50, and 50 he's the only one like that, and he is such a brilliant sweetheart. We don't even discuss about it, and he's fine.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. We also receive a lot of resumes, conduct interviews. However, they say, Aparna, you're working in this area. We would like to join your team. And only thing, please don't disclose. And that also is we need to respect that is their priority. That is what they want. And I think that is very important, isn't it?
Yes,
So,
I think that ensuring that space is also part of an inclusive practice in itself, on you being an inclusive organization, because you just can't be exclusively inclusive to people who are out. You have to be inclusively inclusive to people who are discreet about their identities, who doesn't really want to out, who doesn't find that this is the right time, because there are so many factors associated with their lives. So we have to respect that and give them that space to be their authentic self despite the challenges which are around.
absolutely, absolutely. And we always think that, it is HR's job. It is not. It is everyone's job.
Everyone's job.
Inclusion has to be the habit now, even at home. When you are having house help, when you are having drivers, when you are having your wife, daughter, son, irrespective of their age, we need to respect, we need to listen to them. And if we can do it for everyone, I think it is a lifestyle change, isn't it? And day-to-day life, our inclusion makes a huge difference, right? You can stay in touch with Akshay on his LinkedIn profile, and you can also stay in touch with me on my LinkedIn profile. We work in the area of, diversity, inclusion, other training programs as well. Feel free to remain in touch with us. If you need any help other than professional also, you can get in touch with me. And we have come to the end of the session. I think this was a really nice platform where we opened up, we talked. And I would like to use one powerful line. What I have taken away from this today's session is about, you know, we do not start with the same point. Everyone's struggle is different. Everyone's story is different. So let's include everyone.
Yeah, and I think to close this, I would just like to mention one last line that by
Sure,
not
Akshay.
changing yourself, you are changing the world. So just be yourself. Don't change yourself for a specific change. Even if you are just being you and you are also being acceptive to other people who are also wanting to be just themselves, please do that because that is actually what can bring a lot of change.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much, Akshay, for, you know, accepting our invite, sharing
Thank you for having
your
me.
experience. I'm sure all of us will take these thoughts to more people, and we will make this world a beautiful place, especially for next generation. Thank you. Thank you so
Thank you so
very
much.
much. Thanks
Thank
a
you
lot.
so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Akshay.
Yes. Thank you, Shalini, for joining in. Sujata, everyone. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much, Aparna.
Yeah,
Bye.
but what? Bye. Thank
Thank
you.
you.